Feeling very compelled to make a video about a couple of dreams I had last night. Well, early this morning, in actual fact, having gotten up to go to the toilet, I was awoken from one of the major dreams, and then it was about 7 o'clock, and I normally get up at that time, and I wasn't that tired, and I thought, wow, those dreams were something else. I wonder if I could go back to sleep and, have some more of those. Well, I went back to sleep, and I went back into the dream theme that I was in before. And these dreams, people, were super, super real. And they were in full technicolor. They were in the most amazing detail, just like normal life is. I was looking at so many things, and the vast majority of stuff had no absurdity to it. It was just normal, everyday environments, And so the dreams, the theme was Joe Rogan. I was Joe Rogan's friend, or one of his friends, and I was very close to his wife. And first I have to tell you that I was lucid in these dreams. Now, very, very rarely in my life have I had lucid dreams where you're dreaming and you're thinking, this is crazy. So anyway, I'll launch into it. So I'm with Joe Rogan and his wife, and the only thing I remember about his wife was that she was brown-eyed, brown hair, and we had this wonderful closeness, and we would hang out together, and whilst I was speaking to Joe, for instance, on the opening sketch of this dream, we're in their bedroom, and he's like sitting in an armchair, and she and I are sitting on the bed, and we're petting, and she's holding me, caressing me, and I'm just enjoying, with my face in her nape of her neck, and smelling her, and then she just gently kisses me, and I'm talking to Joe, and sometimes she's, talking, and Joe thinks that's perfectly innocent. He doesn't see anything, because it never really felt like it was a cheating thing. It was that myself and his wife were really close, and so at one stage she had me sitting on her lap, and she was cuddling me. I don't know, some sort of childlike affection, and petting me, and all those sorts of things, and it was really blissful. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I so love this woman. She's just incredible. And doubtless, you've all had dreams whereby you've dreamt of a partner in your dreams, and they've been the most wonderful thing. And seldom in your life have you found that. Maybe when you were, very much in love when you were younger. I could relate it to that. And so that was one of the sketches. And then another sketch, I was in like my old Jaguar. I had this Jaguar S-Type, and it was just beautiful, metallic red with white leather interior and low profile ivory leather seats, you know, sorry, low profile mag alloy wheels. And I was driving it, and then I've had this variety of dreams so many times, but when you put your foot on the brake, you can't stop the car, and you're really pushing down, and it's like, god damn. And this is reminiscent from in the early days with driving cars. They never had ABS, and they didn't stop very easy, and all what would happen is that if you were speeding down the road and come up to an island and somebody looked like they were going to go, and you put your foot on the gas, and then they stopped, and then you put your foot on the brake, and all that happened is that the front wheels locked, and then you just sliding into the back of them, and it's inevitable, and you're kind of like all stiff, you've got your foot really pressed hard on the brake, but you're not stopping, then bang, you've got the impact. So it's kind of like that. But with the evolution of technology, all cars have ABS now, whereby the brakes come on and off very rapidly. And some of you would have noticed the juddering when you put your foot on the brake, and it's like you're skidding, only it's got because what happens is the wheels are being released very slightly to keep traction on the road, rather than just gliding over the surface of it like in wet weather or something like that. And so you got this juddering. Well, that wasn't the case in the old days. And so I'm in my Jaguar, and I'm not stopping, and all of a sudden I become lucid, because this is a trigger. I thought, oh, it's a stupid fucking dream. And I just went, oh, this is a stupid fucking dream. And I actually got out of the driving seat, and I got into the back of the car just to go, well, whatever, stupid dream. And then we was heading towards a big plate glass window from a store, a superstore or something like that. So we fly through this plate glass window, and then I got out the car, and everything was just very normal, in some sort of average environment with all the things that you would expect to see in a shop like that. And then there were 4 people there, and I'm kind of like lucid, and I'm like, I looked over at one old guy, kind of like, I suppose he was about 50, and he had like a white doctor's coat on him, or like a lab coat, that sort of thing. And I looked at him and said, that's bullshit. And I ripped open his lab coat, and he was naked, and he had a huge penis and a huge pair of old balls, you know, like when people are really old, the sacks hang really low. Well, his cock was like a donkey's, and his balls were like fucking lemons, and all wizened and grey hair. And I looked at that, and I was so disgusted by it, I went boot, and I kicked him in his cock. And whatever, it's a dream, people. So when I kicked him in his cock, it felt very firm and rubbery. And then I turned around to the other 3 people, and because the dream, I knew I was lucid, and it just felt so stupid, I was just doing stupid things. So I got hold of like a German sausage again. Look, it's the Freudian thing. Freud always used to say that, you know, dreams are, you know, every dream just about is sexually oriented, with fallacies and, you know, male and female genitalia. Everything's a representation of the male and female genitalia. So, well, I pulled out his lab coat and then saw his naked cock and bollocks, so I kicked him in them, like, get the fuck out of here. And then the next guy, I just like turned around, he was annoying me so much, I got this fat German sausage and I rammed it into his mouth. And he was like, And then I got my finger, which is another Freudian thing, and I pushed it through his cheek like that into his mouth and into the sausage. So that's very much of a sexual act, isn't it? Exactly at that time when I penetrated his cheek, I could absolutely smell chocolate cake. And I went like, fuck! I can smell chocolate cake! And I'd realised in that dream that that's the first time really that I can ever remember that I could actually smell in a dream, and it was so real. Now, I know that in the morning time, morning erection, you want to go to the toilet, and guys, you know, have erections, and that's just how it is. And so if you have an erection and you're remotely stimulated in the reality, then in your dream it's going to manifest. And so therefore I was with Joe Rogan's wife, and you know, I was in love with her, and then every other scene is a sexual scene. And then when I'd done that to one of these other dudes, I turned around to this guy I kicked in his cock, and I went, I tell you what, and I just motioned with my hand like this, and my intention was just to split him down, so two halves of his body just fall on the floor, and I go ha 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 ha. But that didn't happen. What happened is all three of these people, they fell on the floor and they turned into little people, and they were all naked like babies. Now, one of them was about 7 years old, another one was 3 years old, another one was 1 year old, but they were all like action man figures. They were fully formed, mature human beings, only they'd shrunk, and they were all laughing on the floor and going, ha 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 ha, you're a small person, and then the other one's going, ha ha ha, you're a small person too, and they're all looking around, and I said, you all fucking small people, ha 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 ha. My God, okay, so that was about the end of that. Very, very bizarre. Next scene comes about, and I'm in Joe Rogan's house, and Joe Rogan's got a mansion, and it's got a very good deal of innovative arty stuff, and one part of the house is given to a huge array of swimming pools, and he's got a beautiful swimming pool there, and it's glistening with like all different sorts of gems. You know, instead of being tiled with regular tiles, it's tiled with gemstones, and it's glistening, and it's absolutely beautiful. And there's a second level, there's a level up whereby there's a floor that goes across, so like in between, and it's got like an inch of swimming pool on top of it, you know, bizarre as it sounds. And then I looked over to other water features, and you've got swirling like I don't know, cosmoses or Ferris wheels, and then you've got the water, you know, gently dripping out of it in all the colours of the rainbow. And I'm looking at that feature, and then I go over to look at another feature where you got fountains dripping down, and it's kind of like if there's a heaven, then wow, all these amazing things. And Joe was taking me around, and I was fucking hell, I've got to, you know, get my speedos on, I'm gonna, you know, have great fun in these swimming pools and everything, like some sort of a water park in his house. And then another scene came about, and there was a great open space, and everything was absolutely completely real. So we was by a martial arts dojo. Now, Joe does martial arts, I've done martial arts, and so that's the relationship there. So So Joe's got his shorts on, and this particular martial arts is kind of like, I don't know, jiu-jitsu or something, and he's just got shorts on, he's not got a karate kick. Yeah. And then one of his buddies, you know, comes, just about to go into the changing rooms, and he's got his shorts on and his vest on and everything, and he starts jousting with Joe, and he kicks him on his leg, and he's punching on, and they're both kicking each other and punching each other on the legs like you do in karate, or mostly kicking, and then Joe stubbed his toe, and he's like, fuck, and I saw his foot, I saw his top in his foot, and I saw his toes, small toes crumbled in like this. I'm like, he probably broke your toe, because we break our toes all the time in martial arts. And then I looked at the rest of the class, and the rest of the class are all sitting in like a formal dojo sitting, which is basically sitting on your knees, and you've got your hands like this tucked into your side, and you are paying attention to the sensei. And I thought to myself, fuck, I think I'll join in. I think I'm up for that. I could, do what Joe and his mate just did, because I'm trained in martial arts. Black belt, full contact karate. Used to represent my country, Great Britain. And so I'm kind of like, fuck, I'll have a bit of that. And then I looked over into another region, and it was recessed down a little bit. And there were about 30 adults, and they were all sitting in front of their Bibles. And there was a black woman with very elaborate penciled on eyebrows, and she was singing through the Bible. And what the class was about, it was a very innovative thing. It was that you don't have a preacher, you don't speak or interpret the Bible, you just sing it. And people go there to learn to sing the Bible. And I'm like, fuck, this place is really fucking high tech. And if I try to think of some sort of interpretation for that, I can't. That was exceedingly innovative for me. I'd never heard of anything like that, and I'm thinking, wow, that could actually be a thing. Singing through the Bible. What like singing through Psalms, or singing through any of it. Just learning to sing, you see. So this is my, thing. So the karate thing's going on, which is a reflection of me. I like Joe Rogan, that's a reflection of me. The singing to the Bible is a reflection of me, because I'm singing and I'm always studying the Bible. So look how dreams work, people. Dreams are just a projection of you in all different shapes and forms. And the swimming pool thing is that, I love water, and water is very feminine, it's very spiritual, and of course the whole house was given to very, very esoteric things. It was kind of like really innovative, with very imaginative, beautiful, artistic designs of things. And so all those things are a direct reflection of how my mind works. Always coming up with new ideas, what I seem to think in any case. So that was that bit. The next scene was Joe had just bought one of these huge travel coaches. Like movie stars and pop stars have to travel the country. Only this one was twice as big, twice as long, and twice as wide, and twice as tall. And it was just coming down the road, and Joe, with a few of his friends were in it, and we were just going to go to meet at a certain place. And I looked at that and I thought, fuck, how much did that cost? And so in my hand I had the receipt of it. I had like a pamphlet which had, it was a sales pamphlet which was telling you inside about this wonderful bus, all the things it had in it. So I had that, and then I had the receipt, and on the receipt it says 2.5 million. And when the bus stopped, I went up to Joe and I said, Joe, 2.5 million. do you know what you're doing? You could lose a lot of money on this and everything. And he's kind of like looking at me like this, and he's like, you know, I'm a multi-millionaire, right? And so 2.5 million for me is nothing. And I'm kind of like, I just don't like that level of waste. So that was a reflection again of me. I don't know. I can't ever see myself buying something brand new like that, losing half the price as soon as you drive it out the showroom and all that sort of thing. I'm about like, you know, well, you could have saved $1 million by buying one 6 months old and getting it for $1.5 million. And that million, I don't know, you could have given it to charity or something. Why, you know, give it to these fuckers? Why waste it like that? You know, you're losing your depreciation. So my practical mind was coming into things, and Joe's like, you know, don't worry about that. And so what happened next? Yeah, then I was in a scene back with his wife. No, it was a friend. It was a friend and him. And Joe had his arms around both of us, and he was really in like this, and we were so close like that. And I was telling Joe this really interesting, you know, psychological story, and Joe and his mate were really intent on listening. And then there was an interruption, and then we got separated, and I'm kind of like, oh, I want to finish the story, Joe. I want to finish this amazing story because it's so brilliant. But the way he was, you know, holding the both of us, like, you know, we've been the best of friends for so long. And I'm always dreaming of famous people like that. I've dreamt of so many presidents. I've dreamt of Brad Pitt so many times, and Johnny Depp, and Leonardo DiCaprio, and I'm their friends, and we're just doing casual stuff, you know, in casual clothes, and just, you know, whatever. On one particular day, I was having roast beef with all the British trimmings with Johnny Depp and Brad Pitt. And Johnny Depp gets a gun out. It's like Magnum 45, and he starts to fling it around his fingers and this, that, and the other. And oh wow, that's a cool gun. And he said, "Hey, you want it? You want it? Yeah, I'll have it. No, I've got plenty more guns like that." And I'm like, "Wow, I've got a fucking Magnum 45." You know, to get one of those guns in England, it's almost impossible. But in America, you know, of course, everybody's got them under their pillows. So all these dreams in the greatest of reality. And so when I came out of the first dream, and I went, fuck, I went to the toilet, and I'm like, that's just super real. It's kind of like, in my book, I speak about going into dream realms which are absolutely real. I used to go and visit my father, my deceased father, and I knew I would visit him most of the time because I would go into his realm, and he would never have any awareness that he was dead, and he wasn't. He'd just gone into a parallel universe, and so I knew that he was still alive in a parallel or alternate universe. And so whenever I wanted advice about what to do with my work life, because my old man was my work archetype, he was, we always used to work together. That was our relationship. That's where our closeness derived from the work we did together. I used to work for him from a very young age. I always used to travel with him to his job, and you know, he was a motor trader, and I used to go with him to all these motor car auctions and everything. And then throughout my adult life, I was always helping him with whatever projects he was doing. And then when the roles changed and I got my own businesses, I used to employ him. So he was my work archetype. So whenever I'm thinking like, should I start a business again? Should I do this? Then I would go and see him in his world. And he's always doing some building work, which is what he and I always used to do. Or he's working on cars, which is what he and I always used to do. And so I'd go and see him, and he'd be, you know, greasy hands on an engine, this, that, and the other. And I'd just be talking casually. And I remember, I'd be lucid in these dreams also. And I'd be thinking, he doesn't know he's dead. And I'd be thinking, well, he's not really dead. Here he's not dead. and I am here in his world, and I live in his world as well. And so when I want to join him in his dream, my spirit joins my other avatar in his world. So I enter into the avatar of me in his world, and I just converse with him. But I know I'm in my other avatar in that world, because we've got avatars in multi-dimensions, you know, the multi-universe idea. And it seems that I have jumped out of universes and gone into others all my life, even in the physical. In my book, I speak about a time when I felt that I died while scuba diving, because I had a very negative experience with nitrogen narcosis. And nitrogen narcosis, which is when you get poisoned by nitrogen when you go too deep. You're not supposed to go deeper than 30 meters with just plain compressed air, otherwise the nitrogen in the air gets toxic, and you'll get the bends. But he also sends you into some sort of psychosis, so it's called nitrogen narcosis, because it's kind of like a drug. So that can absolutely be beautiful, and you're like in a wonderful avatar world where everything's a dream, and you're so peaceful, and it's amazing. Or it can go the other way. On this particular occasion it went the other way. It was terrifying, and because it was a very deep and dark dive. It was 45 meters. We went 15 meters beyond the threshold of safe diving. It was reckless, and that's when lots of people are going to die, or panic. A terror comes over you, just terror, because your body is being poisoned, so it wants out. And if you bolt up to the surface, then your lungs will explode, or you'll get the bends, because the nitrogen in your blood blows up and blocks up in the joints and causes embolism. And so very technical stuff, but yeah, so when I came out of that dive, I felt as if I'd gone into a parallel dimension very, very powerfully for about 2 weeks. I just felt absolutely instinctively that in that world I died. And everybody was mourning me at my funeral, and this, that and the other, and it was very tragic, and I felt very, very sad for my daughter in that other world, but I still had a daughter in this world where I didn't die, you know. And so when you have these experiences, people, you've got to know that all this stuff has to be going on, because so many people speak about it, entering into parallel universes where you live in them, you know, in a slightly modified way, sometimes a very, very different way. So when I came out of these dreams, they were so absolutely real, and I was lucid within them all, knew exactly what was going on. And sometimes I was messing around, like splitting this person open, and, you know, pushing the German sausage in the mouth, and all that sort of thing. But I haven't for a long, long time had lucid dreams, many consecutive, all within the Joe Rogan theme, except the first one, whereby I couldn't stop the car. And so when we look at those things, and we look into our minds and our psyche, and into the psyche of the dream, and you see that it's you with everything. And it's just a reflection of your consciousness. And I'm thinking, well, there are people who have this relationship with Joe, who are, you know, confidants and advisors and friends, and doubtless there's one of them that's in love with his wife, and all this sort of thing. So what was happening there? What was I experiencing momentarily of the people's psyche? We're all one, people. This is it. Consciousness is all one. And so by rights, we should just be able to tap into individuated avatars to experience what they're experiencing. And so it left a very, very profound feeling, and I got up really questioning this world. I looked out at the garden, to the tree where Providence and the young ones live, because you know, very early in the morning they're often chasing each other and playing around their dray, and they were this morning. And I got the binoculars out, and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, wow, you've grown so much in this 10 days since Mum moved you, and it's kind of like, have I missed something? You know, because I seem to remember you've got your little faces poking out of the penthouse there, and then now you're full grown and you're mature squirrels, and I think actually they're even coming down to take nuts out of my hand. One of them took a nut out of my hand this morning, and I'm like, well, these squirrels are new to the garden, and so I don't know for absolutely sure whether they are the young ones, because I haven't seen them come down from the tree and enter the garden. So therefore I have to assume that maybe there are other young ones. But well, there's two that come very, very close, and one of them actually, you know, is looking up at me, it's like it knows me, and you know, it took a nut out of my hand, and I'm like, well, any of these squirrels that don't know me like that, it takes a long time for them to do that. And they need to be pretty desperate, i.e. in the wintertime they need to be really hungry, and if I'm not throwing all the food over the floor, then they will come a little bit closer. Sometimes they'll bolt off, but sometimes they'll come back, and sometimes they'll try and knock it out of my hand, but very rarely they'll just gently take the nut and go away. So they've all got different personalities and everything, and so it's going to be interesting to see if I, you know, ever see them coming down in the morning and directly onto the food. Then I'll know it's them. But anyway, so in relation to these dreams and everything, do you have lucid dreams? Do you ever have these dreams which are so super real that you have to question this reality? And do you remember them in, you know, very good detail? You see, I was speaking to Andre on one of our chats, and I was speaking about dreams, dream interpretation, and I used to keep a dream journal for 4 years, and I used to write down every one of my dreams, no matter how fragmented or big or small. And I had some incredible, amazing dreams, and when you study your dreams, then you know that you enter into the collective unconscious, the Jungian collective unconscious, where all the archetypes are. And when you study Freudian dreams, then you know that everything is reflection of you, and it's sexually oriented. So when you compile Carl Jung with Sigmund Freud, they both wrote epic books about dreams. Jung's is more mystical and more archetypal, whereas Freud's is more mental, more somatic, and more sexual. But when you put them both together, then you've got the full picture. And seriously, Freud wrote his epic Dream Interpretation in 1905, and he reckoned it was his best work, and he reckoned that he one day will be renowned for that, and there'll be a brass plaque outside of where he used to live, which says this is where the interpretation of dreams was, you know, where Freud was inspired to, you know, write that. Well, that never happened, but the interpretation of dreams is a go-to for dream interpretation with all psychoanalysts and psychologists. Not so much Carl Jung, because Carl Jung, you need to know so much about phenomenon to really get your heads around that. You need to know about alchemy, you need to know about signs and symbols, you need to know about magic, you need to know about mythology, and all this different sort of stuff. And then when you do know about that sort of stuff, then it all comes together. talk too much. My voice is always tired. If I'm not making lengthy videos, then I'm, you know, speaking on the internet, or I'm singing, and my voice is just always tired, and I should rest it more. Because if your voice is always tired, then it's tight and it's restricted, and so you can't reach the notes that you should be able to if it's free and if it's, you know, not exhausted. But I can't ever rest it. I can't never take a day off from singing unless I'm really forced to, and I can't stop making videos, and so it is what it is, people. But anyway, I'm digressing. So dreams, if any of you want to speak a little bit about dreams, have you been in dreams where you're lucid and they're absolutely real, like you could be in a parallel dimension, and there are a few absurdities, you know, like when I split this old guy and then all three people fell into being small people, you know, things like that. But there wasn't a great deal of that in this dream. Most of it was very, very real when I was looking at the karate dojo and all the students, and when I looked over at the Bible class and this woman is singing into a microphone with a PA. She's got a PA, and all the students are on you know, light coloured pine benches with the Bibles in front of them, and I saw, you know, blonde haired women and, you know, bald guys and just a whole array of different sort of middle-aged people, and she was really into it, and then she was showing them how to do it and then going, okay, now it's your turn. And I'm like, that's a fucking good idea. That's a good idea. Anyway, people,